on their sheet, right? I need some people that disagree with the criticism made to them. If you have at least one disagreement, okay? Now you take your, let's see, you either take the sheet or maybe let's leave the sheet, write the disagreement, okay? Yes? Or we can read. Don't take the sheet away, but tell us, and we can examine those disagreements. Yeah. Okay, so now please sit down. Please sit down. Nelson, now, who has on his sheet, on his idea, 3 disagreements? Raise your hand. Ahmed, you have 3? Okay, so let's take a champion. Where's your sheet? Okay, what is written here? Ahmed wrote, no, because it is not perfect, right? Can you read the first disagreement? What first problem, sorry.
Is any invention perfect? Is any invention perfect?
You got, is any invention perfect? Yes? That's the criticism you got?
Yes.
Okay. And who wrote that?
Who wrote it?
Okay. Now look at this. Ahmed answers to this question by no, because it's not perfect. And then decides to, as a problem, to ask a question, is any invention perfect? Alright? So let's take it in order. Let's start with the and. Who think and work fits? Raise your hand.
Can you
repeat? Think and see, I asked to find a problem and wrote that question. Right? As a problem to Ahmed. You following?
No.
Oh. Ahmed's work is no, because it is not perfect. Then I ask, if you find a problem, in the work of the person, write the problem. Remember? And everybody went to write problems. And decided to write the problem on Ahmed's paper. And she wrote the following question, is any invention perfect? Right? And I'm asking you, think for a moment, if you think Anne has done her job, yes or no. I'm not discussing Ahmed's works right now. I'm discussing Anne's work. Then we'll see Ahmed's work later. But first, Anne's. Who think Anne has done her work? Raise your hand. Who think no? Raise your hand. Keep your hand up and look around. Someone that didn't speak or didn't speak much. Choose this person. Who is it?
What is your name?
My name is Zoran.
And ask him, what's wrong with my work?
Zoran, what's wrong with your work?
You didn't criticize his argument or his answer. You were just generalizing his argument.
Okay. Is it true? You did not criticize his argument. Is it true?
No.
You criticized it.
Yes.
Yes. What criticism are you giving him?
That perfection may not.
May not. Wow. If it oh down. Well, if it may not, may it?
Yes.
So where's the criticism?
No criticism.
Okay, so Zoran is right.
For now? Yes.
So says Zoran, you're right. There's no criticism.
Zoran, you're right. There is no criticism.
Huh? You just ask him. You ask him a question about his statement, but there's no criticism there. You agree?
Yes.
But did you want to criticize him?
Yes.
What did you want to tell him was wrong with his idea?
Perfection is not requisite.
It's not. Suppose that's the case, then why do you ask him a question, and such an open question, if you want to criticize him? Do you know why? And think about Norway.
Yes.
Right? Why?
Because it's less insulting.
Exactly. Do you know you're insulting Ahmed now?
Yeah.
You insult him so badly you think this guy is incapable of accepting a criticism.
Yes.
Do you notice the whole of Saudi Arabia criticized now? You know? Do you realize? Through Ahmed, you say, these Saudis, just criticize them, they'll kill you or something.
Well, I'm used to this anyway.
You're used to this. No, you realize this? You know, this insulting thing is very funny. Because under the cover of not insulting you, you're insulting him.
Yes.
Right? Funny?
Yes.
And actually, all Norwegians insult each other all the time, telling each other, you're not capable of hearing criticism, so I'll be nice with you. I'll hide, and that's, by the way, typical strategy, hiding behind a question.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Funny?
Yes.
But you knew this all along, right? Yes. Yeah? All right. So, before we move on to the next problem, anybody has a problem with that problem of the problem? If you didn't follow, I can repeat, but I won't. Okay, who has a problem with the problem of the problem? Raise your hand. Nobody? Okay, so let's move on to the next one. And by the way, all these, like this one, is a classical one. People that ask a question to hide a criticism for reasons like this one. So you have to pick up those things, right? Okay? So, let's move on. You have a problem?
Yeah, I have a problem with the problem, but
Of the problem or of the problem? No, go ahead.
The mere acceptance of trying to answer a question like that, I think is a problem. I think.
Wait, hold on. Now, this one you got me. Repeat again. I didn't get it.
Even trying to answer your question the way it's put there, I think is a problem.
Okay, wait a minute. Now, you want to do meta debate, right?
Yes.
Okay, I already have your neighbor who's doing this on me. So hold on a second. Let's keep the meta debate, write it. Hold on. At the end, if people have say, your exercise is crazy, it makes no sense, that's fine.
Okay.
You write it, and later on, then we'll discuss it, okay? But not now. We're good?
Okay.
Now we're trying to do the exercise, and at the end, like, you know, your seminar stinks, anything, after. We good? All right?
Actually not, but okay.
Actually not, but okay. Well, wait a minute, let me process this. But you got the point, yeah?
Yeah, but I think that the problem of the problem is that you're having a discussion about the question that is unanswerable.
So it's my fault.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, did you get my point or not?
Yes, I got
Do you agree with it?
No.
No. You want to debate now? You want now enter the meta debate, right?
Yes, I want that.
Okay, Richard. Do you know those people that you can never do an exercise with them because they want to debate about the possibility of the exercise? Do you know those people?
Yeah, but this is
No, Richard. Have you heard of those people?
I've never heard about it.
No. In Sweden, there's no such people. You have to do something, let's go with it. Okay, all right? Now, but this is funny. In workshops, right, except in Sweden where you don't have them, you know. But in other places, there are people that as soon as you do an exercise, they have many reasons to know why your exercise is impossible, right? Which is very interesting. It tells a lot about them sometimes, but, you know. But the idea, is it okay with you that no matter how stupid and how crazy the exercise, maybe by trying to do it, we'll get something out of it. Is that okay with you?
Worth trying. It's worth trying. Yeah.
Well, that's called, you know, in Sweden they call this enthusiasm, you see? you know, do you love me? Well, I'm going to try. This is passion, you know, Ingmar Bergman style of passion, you know? I'll try. Resistance is funny, because resistance tells you a lot about people. Did you know this?
No.
No. Very good. You're so consistent. I love it. So, that's it. Any other problem on that? Any problem?
I have a problem with the problem.
What the problem? Good. What is it?
Because your reaction or that a question cannot contain, or you suggest that the question cannot contain criticism on the problem.
Well, let's take this one.
I disagree.
Okay, fine. But let's take this question.
Yeah.
Do you think this question in itself is a clear criticism?
Yes.
Yes. For common sense or for smart people?
Common sense.
Really? Well, did you notice that common sense had a hard time with it? Did you notice that?
I didn't see common sense.
You didn't see common sense, but did you see smart people?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Have you ever noticed the problem of smart people in workshops? Have you ever noticed?
Yes.
What is the main problem of smart people in workshops?
They always want to think different.
Yes. Do you do this sometimes?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I love this. Absolutely. Okay, all right. Okay. But you see, I don't know if it speaks to you, but in this kind of job, common sense is fundamental, you see. Because common sense, Voltaire has a nice way of saying it. He says, see, common sense never authored a work of genius. See, you don't have a work of genius signed common sense. It's individual. But common sense protects you from the excesses of subjectivity. You know, no matter how great is subjectivity, and common sense is a fundamental tool of thinking. Descartes has this as well nice sentence, says, common sense is the most widely shared thing in the world. You ever heard this sentence? It's interesting. So common sense would convoke here, because when we judge such things, of course, in a very particular frame of mind, anything can be defended. Absolutely anything. Anything and its opposite. But, you see, when you want to judge some idea and someone to some basis, common sense is very useful. You like common sense, or it bothers you as a concept?
Like common sense.
Well, thank you, you answered. That's fine. That's exactly, you don't, right? Exactly. But now, with the distance, do you see how it can be useful?
Yes.
Okay. And let me give you an example for people. See, we did this work with Isabel of little books about training people in philosophy for high school. And one thing we use, we call it, how do you call it? Something, évidence acquise, yes. Some people, they claim things, yeah, as an obvious statement, right? Now, maybe it's obvious from when somebody tells you, you know, man is suicidal. I'll give you an example. Man is suicidal. Why not? That can make sense. Yes, I look at things, man is suicidal. But I cannot presuppose that this is an admitted concept, right? That man is mortal, okay, yeah, basically, I can think Jesus is not, whatever, but basically I know, globally, people will accept that man is mortal. So, I won't have to justify it, I can admit, you know. But man is suicidal. Well, I can't defend that, but I should not presuppose that it fits common sense. And when I speak to people, I have to know what common sense accepts. And people have a hard time with others, maybe that can help Jacoba, or people that are incapable of understanding common sense because they never listen to anyone beside themselves. It's a very typical philosophical disease. I agree on this with Jacoba. But our job, in terms of philosophical practice, we have to be able to understand common sense and work with it. Not as some ruler, not as some absolute judge, but as a decent and useful interlocutor, right? So when I see something, I tell myself, not me smart. I agree with you. I can see a criticism here. I can, but I can as I'm smart. I can get it. And that's what many parents and teachers do with the student. I see what you mean. No, don't see what you mean. Is it explicit? Is it clear? Does it speak to common sense? You see? But of course I can see a criticism there. Implicit. A bit elusive. Right? But here we don't work in the elusive. We work in the explicit. If it's elusive, then anything can go. Anything. Because you have people that are smarter than smart. And whatever you say, they can always see something else than what it is. And philosophers are very good at that. Because that's called to problematize. And there's moment to problematize, but moment not to do it.
But it's also very common that people have criticism to another person and they put it in the form of a question.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people
Fine.
do. It's a very common.
But you see, you want to know. Did you hear what we discovered of Anne? You noticed? And of the Norwegian function, you noticed? Is it interesting?
It is.
Now what is more interesting? What people do and they don't know what they're doing? Or to discover the truth of the moment where Anne wanted to be nice with Ahmed? What's more interesting, you think? You see, because that's why are we doing this? That's the whole question. Why do we do this job? I don't know about you. Why do it? Is to discover the truth of the specific thinking functioning. It's not a debate in absolute. You see, it's what's going on there. And there, we discovered, and of course, if Anne wants to do philosophical practice, and she tries to be nice with people, there'll be a problem. Because they won't see the problem, she's too nice, for example. You know? So there's a context in which we are doing that. It's not an absolute, but in absolute, I agree with you. There is everything in everything, including the opposite. It's very popular among philosophers, especially the smart ones. And you like that?
Yes.
Yes. But it's another exercise. We can have another exercise and say, okay, here it says A is A, and as Hegel said, prove A is not A. But then that's problematization exercise. It's a different competencies. Now, some people are good at doing this kind of thing. They can conceptualize. Others are good about problematization. You have to be able to do both. You see? But really smart people, they love problematization. They don't like common sense exercise. But you have to be able to do both. One is it time for common sense. One is it time to do subtle stuff. You see the difference? And that's a capacity to do a specific exercise. You know? But anyway, let's see now. I got caught in the method debate. I didn't want to do this, but let's go. First problem out. What's the second one?
Nothing is perfect.
Nothing is perfect, yes? So, you refuse this criticism.
I didn't comment on this.
This is a criticism
It's a criticism on my...
of your work, yes? Okay? Yes? So, Ahmed says, for the ones who don't follow, Ahmed says, is the universe a good invention? No, because it is not perfect. Somebody tells him, who is it?
Yeah.
Who?
Who's wrong this?
Who told him, read it again, okay?
Nothing is perfect.
Nothing is perfect. Sorry, first and again. Ilva. Who accepts Ilva criticism to Ahmed? Raise your hand. Put your hand up. Who does not accept it? Raise your hand. Ilva, look around. Find someone that didn't speak much yet, look well, and ask, what's the problem with my criticism?
What is the problem with my criticism? You say that nothing is perfect? This is an argument here.
Okay, what's wrong? What is she doing then? See, if you say it's not an argument, what is she doing, you think, that you don't consider adequate?
It's too much of a generalization.
Too much of a general... it's hard to...
just a general-
What do you call too much?
Just skip that.
Okay,
It's a
so let's start again. Do you know the problem or you're not clear?
I think I'm...
Okay, what is the problem with her criticism?
It's a generalization.
It's a generalization. And can a generalization be used as a criticism, yes or no?
Not in this case.
No.
No.
Listen, no. You can never use a generalization as a criticism. Is that what you're saying?
No.
You give up on that one? Third and last try. What's wrong with this criticism? By the way, look at the process every time. We listen to the argument, we check it out, I give it back. Do you maintain it? No, we try something else. Huh? That's the echo principle. Third try.
Yeah, Ahmed is talking about something specific. But,
Whose argument?
Ahmed,
Ahmed's argument is about something specific. What is specific in this case?
the universe.
Wow, that's very specific indeed. The universe, okay. If you know, I don't know what was specific, now I know. Now, what's she doing? Ilva. Which,
Yeah. Ilva is talking about everything.
yeah, she speaks about everything. And the universe, of course, that's not everything.
Or nothing.
Is your criticism of the
about nothing because
Hello. Is your criticism of the criticism clear or not?
Yes,
Okay, you think people understand it or not?
probably not. No,
No.
some.
Some, the minority. Like Ed, maybe. The elite.
Maybe.
So you think they don't get it?
Some will.
Well, the majority, they'll get it or not? Okay, the other one. Try for the last time. What is your criticism of the criticism? And we'll see. Explain.
Ahmed talks about something specific, but Ilva talks about everything and nothing.
Okay. Who thinks that the criticism of Behela is operational? Raise your hand. How many hands help? Who think it is not operational? Raise your hand. Put your hand down. You surprised? Do you have a problem with your students sometimes they don't get it?
No.
Never.
No.
No, Danish students are smarter than people here physically. That's possible, right? You know? Okay. Okay, huh? But you see, now, I don't know how you view when I do this with someone, but it's a capacity to make concepts operate. That's what we're talking about here. Not having the perfect, right, I don't know, absolute position, but to make thinking functional, you know? Thinking is a dynamic. Okay. We'll try a last thing that we'll do because this actually goes further than I thought, so we decided we'll keep doing it this afternoon, right? But I'll try a last thing and then we'll stop. Who wants to criticize Ahmed? Who think, no. Who think, yes, the criticism doesn't work and can say why? Raise your hand. Hilda, ask someone who didn't speak much. What's the problem? Look around. Keep your hand high. Anna. What's wrong here?
Because
Loud.
she's speaking about the facts, about how the world is, but she's not.
She's speaking about the way the world is.
Yes.
Her vision of the world.
Yes.
She's trying to impose her vision of the world on Ahmed. Is that what you're saying? Is it true that you announce something about the order of the world as an obvious fact? Is that true?
Yes.
Are you often like dictating people what to think this way?
Yes.
Okay. You see a bit the idea? Huh? It's not so much if it's true or false, I don't care, but how somebody functions. The idea here, she tells us nothing is perfect. Is that what you say? Nothing is perfect? Huh? Nothing is perfect. That's some obvious truth. Now, do you think some people might disagree with this and think some things are perfect?
Yes.
Do you think someone can think the universe is perfect or is prohibited?
No, it's not perfect.
So we should accept your vision of the world as a fact.
No.
So do you see the problem of your criticism?
Yes.
Huh? Now, when you do a consultation with someone, you're not there to teach him what truth is, what reality is, how to think. You want to make him think about his thinking and try to raise problems. If you do that, he's going to say, hey, you sound like preaching, you know? Tell me your grandmother's proverb or something. Like nothing is perfect. Didn't your grandmother say that nothing is perfect? No, mine did. Let me see. I'll present you my grandmother. Okay. All right. So, we're going to stop it in 2 minutes. But before, because some people maybe are boiling with whatever, does anybody want to raise some issue about the exercise, about the morning already, and wants to express some particular thing? Raise your hand. I see there's two people, two for now. Richard gave up for now. Okay, fine. So let's listen. Yolanda, what is it?
Well, besides a counter-argument, I found in my answer and the criticism to my answer a way of correcting my own answer.
So now you're better than before.
Well,
Try to answer yes or no. I want to know if you're better than before.
Yes, my argument is better now.
You're better than before?
Yes.
Are you better than before?
Yes.
No, because we charge more for people who become better. It's extra. Is that all wrote? She writes the name of those people. Okay, thank you. So you found that useful?
Yes, useful.
Good. Yeah.
And I just have a question about that little last thing that Ahmed said, no, because it's not perfect. And then Ilma said, nothing is perfect.
No, that's not him. That's her statement. We didn't discuss at all what Ahmed said. If you notice,
No,
we only discussed
her
the criticism.
criticism.
Yes, okay, her, yeah.
And my question is whether it is a criticism or just agreeing with Ahmed that
Oh,
nothing
okay.
is perfect.
That's interesting. Is it true that actually you're agreeing with Ahmed?
No.
Really? Well, does Ahmed think the world is perfect? Look at, you made me doubt. Please look at me.
Yeah, the universe. He thinks the universe is perfect.
He thinks the universe is perfect.
You think
Tell you
that
what, try it me help, just for fun. Try it out. Tell me. Oh yeah, see, my glasses, I'll lend them to you, Thank you, Ivan. Yeah? Okay, huh? And that's funny, this happens a lot, by the way. I criticize, and this is a lot of discussion, and actually people are saying the same thing, but I disagree. You have the reverse. I agree with you, but you listen to the argument, and they say the opposite. Welcome to humanity. That's the way we like to discuss, unlike iguanas. Yes, okay? Thank you. Okay, so we're going to stop now for lunch, but just 1 second.
Yes.